All relationships start with us. And when I say us, it starts with our own personalized programmings. It starts with what we've been emotionally conditioned and trained to do. Like I did a session with a person. I'm in 2 sessions a day. It's like, and so we talk about they write a list, and of course, they talk about, well, I got physical pains, physical this and that, low self-esteem, and all this stuff, bad relationships, and of course, all these things that we have today are symptoms, not a cause. Now we
Right.
consciously think that's the problem because we're now currently experiencing and feeling it, but in reality, it's not the cause. One person, for example, she doesn't like boring guys, right? But she dates guys just like the person she doesn't like and doesn't speak to, which is her dad, right? And so dad is abusive. He beat her mom, and fights with her brother. And she says he doesn't like me, he hates me. But she goes out and finds the bad guys. Guess what the bad guys do? Exact same thing to her. And I said, listen, you're just repeating a pattern. It's not the bad guys, is that you're picking them. Or you allow them to pick you and you go yes and go with it. So I said, the key to healing your body, I've helped a lot of people heal pains. The key to healing your body, the key to healing your relationships is looking at the emotional dynamics, the programming, and the experiences growing up as a child. Now, it doesn't mean you get all of it from your parents. Not all of it. And matter of fact, you have perfectly nice parents and you're still picking bad guys or picking bad relationships. And it has nothing to do with your parents, but everything to do with your sister who hated you, or your brother who didn't like you, or maybe a kid on the bus who picked on you every day. And then all of a sudden that becomes a major emotional driving system. So again, it's like somebody says, well, you'll end up dating someone just like you're marrying someone like your dad or marrying someone like your mom. Now, again, like most say girls will marry someone like their dad. Well, that's not necessarily true. They may act like their dad. Dad's calm and cool, but mom's wacky and crazy. Well, they're going to pick wacky and crazy because that's the balancing act between the two polarities. So again, you got a doormat and you got one who steps on doormats, which is not good if you're the doormat, and it's not good if you step on people. So what has to be done and needs to be done is go in and start adjusting memories and references about whoever it is that had the major emotional impact in your life. Now, the bizarre thing is, it's not because of what they did to you. It's not. It is because of what your brain captured, organized, and you reused on you, against you, for you, etc. So it's not what your parents did. Now, granted, you may have learned some programs from them, but it's your learnings that is giving it to you. Because you could have, everybody could have, I mean, say you got 5 brothers and sisters, and they all act, maybe 4 of them act the same and 2 of them doesn't, because they're choosing different programs. It's like the woman said, I just don't understand. I got 3 kids, they have the same parents, they have the same house, they all live in the same. Why is it the oldest one, the worst one of them all? And I go, they have different references. Being the first one, usually you're the first one, guess what you get? You get practice on, you know? And of course, they're practiced on by who? People who got, not so intelligent, not so smart, not so emotionally healthy. Or better yet, I said, well, tell me about your daughter and you growing up and your husband and all that. She said, oh, well, my only husband. She said, but in the early days, he cheated on me. And we were fighting. We're going to get divorced. Now, this little girl, 3, 4, 5 years old, watching this happen, that's information going in. And they watch this, it becomes a part of their world, their psyche, their programming. And then they make up, they forgive each other, they clean up stuff, and now they're together and they're happily married. But the problem is the information that the child is exposed to. Now that's one. And another one is it's the same basic scenario, but this time we're going to put the child in daycare. Well, the daycare people, a person, or whoever it is, maybe don't like your child and they're mean and abuse your child. Maybe other kids beat that child up at school, at daycare. Who knows? Now that child's getting a different set of information. And they go home and they go, I don't understand what's the problem with this child. Maybe they got some kind of disorder or something. You know, that's what you take to a psychologist. I got a disorder. They got the terrible two disorder, and they're going to give them medication for terrible two disorder. How insane is that, right? So again, this is how that's how we do it. Now, let's say you had a perfect childhood. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect one, but a semi-healthy, normal one. And then your very first boyfriend, I've seen this, or girlfriend, whatever it is. And let's say you loved your grandpa. Grandpa was amazing. You know, he had these bright blue eyes, you know, with a gentle voice. And you just love grandpa. You sit on his lap and you talk and you play and you can't wait to go see grandpa. And then later on, you know, the little boy or little girl, you know, and they find a little boy or an older boy, let's say 15 years old, 20 years old, and they have those blue eyes and you have an affection for blue eyes. Now you like the blue eyes, and the blue eyes stir up emotions inside you, love and whatever, and then you start dating this guy. Well, this guy is nothing like your grandpa. He has blue eyes, curly hair, straight hair, muscled up, whatever it is that you find attractive, but he also brings emotional dynamics into your world that you didn't know anything about. Now, of course, you know, when you start dating at the early age, they usually keep the bad shit tucked away in their back pockets, and they don't bring it out until later, like after marriage sometimes, right? Then all of a sudden, you get exposed to a world you didn't know existed. That becomes your trauma training. So there's many scenarios how this works. There's all kinds of stuff. And so we're very emotionally conditioned by our environment, but it's our programmings that our brain collects and will use for us and or against us. You grow up in a family dynamics and it's crazy, and that's the family normalcy. It's normal to have crazy relationships because that is the homeostasis. That's the normalcy. And so what we want to do to upgrade. Now, how many times I've heard this? I said, well, we start working, start changing these memory. Go, well, hold on, but I don't know how to be in a relationship. I only know how to be, you know, used and abused. Who will I be? I said, it'll work out. You'll be healthier. You'll be better. You'll work through this. And so that's how relationships work.